Hey guys, welcome to the Warriors Arise and Mom Talk blog that we have going on here. Are you a mom with a successful business feeling overwhelmed with the daily demands of life? Today we'll be talking about identity shift and how it affects moms and business owners. On this channel, we will share all things business, faith, parenting tips, tricks, and strength to strengthen your identity into all that God has called you to be. If you're a perfect mom, then this channel is not for you. If you're a mom with a business and want to be present, want to be a present mom, this is your channel today. We're going to be talking about identity shift as a mom and as a business owner. Welcome, JoJo. How are you today?
What's up, you guys? Happy Saturday.
That sounded like if I was like interviewing you. Like, welcome, JoJo. All right, welcome. Hello, I'm so excited to be here today, JoJo. How's your week?
It's been great. You guys, if you're joining for the first time, I'm JoJo Yhennifer, and we together have 10 kids. My husband and I have 5, and her husband and her have 5. And we own businesses. And so this is a crazy life. So we're like, let's just share and help the women out, because these are the women that come to us all the time about identity shift, about owning a business. So we're going to give the tips and the tricks and all the things to motherhood, to owning a business, and all of that today. So I'm so excited about our topic today, Yhennifer.
Yeah, me too. Can you hear the ding? Do you hear the ding going on here, the text
I
message?
hear no dinging.
My kids are texting in the background, and I was like, I hope
Of
this
course
doesn't
they
come
are.
out in the video.
It does not come off in the video. Yeah, of course. And again, guys, like we have a lot of kids. So you're going to hear kids in the background because it's a Saturday morning. And we all know that cartoons don't exist anymore on Saturday mornings.
Listen, sometimes
So,
that happens, but one thing about us and one thing that we want to obviously like emphasize in this video, as Jojo mentioned, obviously it's like the real stuff, but also it's like that we continue to move forward. We don't let all the things of life like kind of like stop us from the things that we were called to do. Like this channel I feel like this was something that we were called to do. I know Jojo for a very long time. If you haven't watched the video on why we started this channel, this playlist, go watch it now. We'll put it in the description below so you can kind of get like a refresher. And we really feel like we were called to do this, even in the midst of our, chaotic life.
yes.
Most people would say chaotic. To us, it's kind of normal.
It's normal. It's just normal.
For us, it's normal, but imperfect action. We've talked about that in this playlist too. It's like, we're imperfect people, and if you're perfect, the same for you. So it is what it is. Here we are. So today, identity shift. I know you had a story you wanted to share, and
Yes.
let's dive right in
Yes.
and do this.
Okay. So guys, I know that this is one thing that a lot of business women talk to me about is like, I need to be mom, and I have this conflict of like, how do I be mom and how do I own a business at the same time? You guys, first of all, number one, get rid of that thinking that you have to do one or the other, because you're not. You're doing both, right? God has called you to this great perfect, this great purpose, and he needs you not to be perfect in it, right? He just needs you to take those little steps, those baby steps. It is not I'm going to pick one or the other, right? You are not sacrificing your children because you're owning a business. Instead, what you're actually doing is you're helping your children, one, learn that you are a strong woman, that owning a business is not an easy task. It is so not an easy task. There's ups and there's downs and there's all these curveballs that you're like, I had no idea. Why? Because nobody talks about those things. But again, we're raw on this channel. Like, we will tell you the nitty gritty, the tantrums, the hard things, the crying at night, eating in the pantry, all those things that we do, because it's real. It's not fake. It's real. And we want you to know that, like, if you are struggling in this concept of like, how do I have this identity shift from being mom and now having a business as well, or even trying to start a business, or even how to balance the two, right? It is a big deal. So when I started mine, there was a lot of pushback. And first of all, my business was with my husband at first, right? We coached couples for a while, and they were entrepreneur couples, and like things that we had done for a long time. But here's the difference, okay? Everyone would always come to us for marriage advice or parenting advice. That's just something people always did. We were foster parents. We had 30 kids over the years. Like, there is not a tantrum we have not seen, right? And there's a million different things that we've dealt with, but same thing as a couple. Because when we were foster parents, we had to become stronger as a couple because no one else understood it. It was a trial that people just don't get unless you live the foster parent life. right? Your house is constantly in chaos, constantly in transition. There's constantly a child coming in and coming home and all these things that just pure turmoil. Just it's just hard. And so couples would always come to us and say, "Oh, you guys have a perfect marriage." And we'd be like, We don't have a perfect marriage, but we definitely work on our marriage every single day. We are super intentional on our marriage because that's all we got. Like our kids like are constantly in this transition stage and we have each other, you know? And so when over a time, probably 10 years, I would say, couples would always come to us. And so we started coaching couples and helping couples. But let me tell you, the support was not there. Even couples that used to always come to us over everything were like, you guys can't coach couples. What makes you certified? What makes you this? What makes you that? This doubt would step in. And we're like, wait, but you've been coming to us for years for help. And so it became this conflict of like, I have to shift my identity because I need to grow as a person and we need to grow as a couple. So we know we need to do this business because God has told us like through our hearts, we needed to do this. And so we knew this was a purpose we needed to do. But yet we have these conflicting things that's like, you can't shift your identity. That's not you. You can't do it. You need to be mom and mom alone, right? But that's not what I need to be. That's not what God has asked me to be. He's asked me specifically to help the women on this earth to understand that they are called to do a greater purpose, that they still are moms. You're still incredible moms, you guys. But it's not a one or the other thing. Whatever you have been asked to do, you're getting qualified for. So you don't need a certification necessarily all the time, right? Or whatever. If you feel like that is the thing you are called to do, then get to work. Like get up and get going. Now, here's where we shift a lot is that I can't do mom or business. It's one or the other, but it's not. We just have to work on balancing, which you guys, this is what part of our show is we're going to keep on talking about balancing and how do we balance our life. But knocking out those haters, that's a big part. Step one, knock out those haters and know that if you're called to the work, just get to work because it's not a one or the other thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
my story, Yhennifer.
Yeah, that's perfect because it kind of like leads on to like one of the topics that I have for today, which is like the comparison.
Mhm.
Because a lot of people like they see all the, a lot of women, right? Because we're talking to women in this channel. They see like other
Yes.
women and like in social media, everybody, most of the people, 90% of people share all the glamour and the business and the travel
Yes.
and the laptop lifestyle, right? And
Yeah.
they
Sitting
do
on the beach with their laptop. Yeah.
yeah, with their children, like if nothing, crazy goes on. Throughout the years, even before starting this playlist, like I guess a little backstory of mine is I built my whole following doing Facebook Lives from 2016 to 2018. Every single day, I would do 2 Facebook Lives. Okay. This is when I was building like my organic following. And those 2 videos, one was me giving like inspirational personal development or business tips or anything that I was like learning. I was sharing, learning, and I was sharing. And the other video was like a life thing, like something that was happening at home. If like I'm cooking, I'm making a video with one of my kids cooking, and it's like a mess everywhere, right? So I build my following like that, like one like more professional video and then one of like real life stuff. And people would reach out to me from the woodworks, people that didn't even follow me. Either somebody shared a video and they would say, wow, like thank you for sharing like the real stuff. Because like most
Yes.
people don't do that. So like comparison is the identity, it steals your joy, right? Like it steals your joy.
Yes.
So when you look at business women that are maybe a few steps ahead. So I kind of like leads into my second topic. A few steps ahead in business, they might look like they have the perfect life. And it's just that some people just are not real and raw and they don't share like the behind the scenes of what really happens. So when you look at
Yeah.
these women that they have it all together, that those seeds of comparison will get into your heart and into your mind if you are not guarding your mind and you're not guarding your thoughts and you're not
Yes.
reading the word, if you don't know your identity, right? Like if you don't know your identity and who you are in the eyes of the Lord, then your identity becomes everything that you see, everything that you hear, your environment, right? So if you're on social media, which we all are, right? Like we live in a digital
Yeah.
age, you see these things, and if you don't have a strong foundation of your identity, then those seeds start fermentating like in there, and then you see it more, and it starts to grow, and then you know, you live an unhappy life, and we don't want that for you. Like, that's what we're making this channel, because we want to
Yes.
give you tips so that that doesn't become your identity. Like, you were called for something, even if you don't know what that is right now. You know, for a very long time, I would pray and I would ask God, like, God, why am I here? Like, what's my purpose? Right? Like, how do I figure this
Yes.
out? But the more you spend time with the Lord, the more you get into your quiet place, the more God will start speaking to you. And sometimes it's not an audible voice. Like, people say that too. Like, sometimes I think we're going on a different topic, but sometimes it's not an audible voice.
Okay.
Sometimes it's not like, you know, sometimes it could be somebody else that brings a message to you, right? Like I call those like secret agents of God, right? Like a random,
Yes.
you know,
Secret
person.
agents. I like
Yeah,
that.
you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes it could be something that you're reading, and then like your heart just kind of like lights up. You know, it doesn't even have to be the Bible.
Yes.
Reading something that in regards of a topic that, you know, that God has like implanted in you and your DNA, and that's your purpose, right? So continue to seek without giving up of what your purpose is, because you do have,
Yes.
everybody has a purpose. So years
Yes.
of me trying to figure out what my purpose was, like, I found out that the Lord had put me in this earth to like impact women, to help women get ahead, to let them know that they need to break limiting beliefs, that they could do anything is possible. And that's kind of, you know, what intertwines us,
Yes.
me and JoJo, with this channel. But it took me a while to like figure that out through a lot of trials, through things that I went through in my life. Like, God prepared me through things that I went to with like past relationships, raising children, like, you know, court cases, like all these things that happen in my life,
Yes.
so that I could be able to use my mess into a message to help women. So that's kind of like my backstory, like how I figured out like my purpose and what I was called here to do. But back to the comparison, like, if you start focusing your thoughts, focusing on what other people are doing instead of trying to figure out your thing, then that will just bring that will not bring joy, that will steal your joy. And it will allow you to like move ahead in life. It's like we get paralyzed and then we make no action. Like, one thing we talked about when we started this video today is like imperfect action. Like, we will get paralyzed if we let those thoughts kind of like grow within us. So don't compare yourself to people that might be a little bit ahead of the game because they spend a little bit more time or a little bit more years in their craft, or learning a skill, or maybe building their following, or building their business, or even marriages that have been together longer, that you see like, wow, like you mentioned, the perfect, you
Yes.
know, relationship because they've been together 35 years. Just because they've been together 35 years doesn't mean it's a perfect relationship. There is no perfect relationship.
Exactly.
Okay. Like,
Exactly.
the people
There's
that have
skills.
it's because they're
Yes.
working on it every day. Like you mentioned, like they're working
Yeah.
on it every day. So anything you want to add to that?
And I think, yeah, I want to answer that. So I think also like it steals relationships from you, right? So I remember when we were new to the game of couple coaching and all that stuff for entrepreneurs, it was extremely exhausting because I almost spent time scrolling and being like, I can never get to know this person. Scroll again. Oh, I'll never get to know that person. Scroll again. I'll never know this person. I tell you, most of the people that I was like, I'm never going to know them because they're like big rigs or whatever in the entrepreneur world, I've met most of them and I know most of them now. Like, but the thing is I was stopping myself because I was like, oh, I'm too little. I don't matter to them. Well, I don't need to matter to them, right? First of all, my goals are not their goals. I need
Right.
to focus on me and my family and my children and my business, right? That is my circle right there. So if you find yourself where you're scrolling and you're like, oh, it'd be great to be them or great to know them, or I'm not good enough for them, or this also happens to us business owners is I have to hide my content or I feel like I can't put my content out because this person is going to see it. Whether it's a big person that's in the entrepreneur world and you're like, I'm not good enough for them. What if they see me? Or if it's a personal person in your life that you're like, I can't share because it's debilitating because what if they see it? Right. But here's again, you're called to a work, guys, get to work. I mean, Yennefer and I both went through lots and lots of trials. And here's the cool part is like Yennefer and I met like a few years ago. It
Yeah.
wasn't like we just met and was like, let's do a channel together. No, we literally went through trials that were similar to each other and we would have conversations about those trials. And then it was like, hey, this is my purpose. Oh, this is my purpose too. Well, let's just combine the two, right? It wasn't a magical spark. We met in an elevator and Yennefer, let's build a business together, right? Like it's not like that, you know?
Hilarious.
Yeah. Saw the glistening in your eyes, right? Now, actually, our husbands went, I think they went together
They hung
before we
out.
went together.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
hung
they
out
hung out
more
before we did.
before you and I hung out. They hung out a little bit
Yeah,
before. We hung out in person, and then they also hung out online a few
yeah,
times before we even like kind of like reconnected again.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so comparing yourself just like steals your identity, and we don't want that for you because obviously we've been there, right? So, but if it happens, there's a way to get out because we're all been there, right? So it's like you have
Yes.
to get back to controlling your thoughts and your emotions. Like it's so important, so important. We talked about environment too before in one of our old videos. We'll put the link in this description as well because your environment is so important, and what you listen to, what you watch, all those things like affect your thoughts, right? So it's like I also went through, like, I'll share like another the personal story. I also went through about a year and a half where I didn't post nothing on social media because I it was that. It was like I didn't want people to see, like, I didn't want nobody to know my life or
Yeah.
what was going on, the good, the bad, the nothing. I didn't want nothing because of the trials that I was going through. And I was just
Yeah.
like I guess I had a little distaste of social media. And I want to share this because somebody like impersonated somebody else and sent me a friend request and acted like they were somebody that not that I knew, but they tried to be my friend online to get something out of me. So I got a little bad taste from that, and I didn't want to post on social media. I didn't post for like a year and a half. I was so mad because they used that to try to like hurt me and my family. And then I came to a point as I was rediscovering my purpose and asking God, okay, God, like I know you told me what to do and what I need to do. Like if I don't post on social media, if I don't get back out there, if I don't like put my face out there, there's no way I'm gonna be able to impact people. And I think I remember having that conversation with you one time, JoJo, that
Yeah.
like you were such an encouraging person for me when I was like down and out. And that's why it's so important to have other moms and other business owners in your circle that they can help you break those identity shifts, right? I
Yes.
remember a conversation I had with JoJo. I don't remember when this happened, but I remember that you had told me like it's time for you to like get out there, like get back out there, like do what you were
Yeah.
called to do. I remember that, and that's when I started like posting content again. I was like, okay, I need to go back out there. Like it doesn't matter what like the enemy tried to do and try to like silence my voice. I think that is what
Yes.
happened to me. Like the enemy tried to silence my voice because he knew my purpose, because the enemy knows your purpose too.
Yes.
You're watching this.
Every yes. Yes.
He knows your purpose, and he wants to silence you from whatever it is, and if you're watching this, obviously we're talking to like business women. Whatever business you are building is because that's part of your purpose. That's part of what you love to do. That's part of whoever you serve. It's intertwined with your purpose. So the enemy knew that. And then, my amazing friends that are also moms and business owners were encouraging me to
Yeah.
get back out there. It was like, yo, enough is enough. Like, you have already, like, enough. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, like, one thing
Yes.
was like, it all like turned back around. I started to hang around with my amazing, positive friends, even online. Okay. And it was like, I was back to like my identity and who I was. Right. So
Yes.
I've been through that. Like, we're talking about this because we've all been through that.
So I want to touch on that because exactly what you said. First of all, I remember exactly where I was when we had that conversation. I was in my car at a trampoline park while all my kids were
Yes,
jumping on the
I
trampoline when we were
remember.
talking. Uh-huh. My kids were in for a birthday party, and I was like, let's talk to Yhennifer. Like, so I remember exactly where I was in a parking lot. But
Yeah,
anyway, here's the thing though. We get debilitated as moms and as business owners. Those are two big areas that we get debilitated in because we look at everybody else around and we're like, there's no way I'm ever going to reach this goal. I'm never going to reach blank blank blank, never, right? Because the discouragement sets in. When the discouragement sets in, the debilitation starts. Yhennifer was in a debilitation mode, right? Like for a long time, everything was debilitating to her until one day when her brain clicked and it was like, no, I don't need to be debilitated anymore. She was strapped in with chains basically, and then
yeah,
she broke those chains. But she didn't break them by just saying, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to just get back there. No, she put it in with the action. She put in the action and then the things followed. And the chains eventually broke where she got her identity back.
yeah. And imperfect action. Okay, going back to that imperfect action, but it was some action. You do have to do
Yes.
your part. Like you have to do your
Mhm.
part. And to bring back the subject of like choosing business and choosing, life and kids and like, you have to be one or the other. People ask me all the time, do it like how do you like you know, you're learning, you're traveling, attending events, you're like running business, you're coaching people, you know, you have 5 kids, like my daughter just finished her soccer season, like all the things,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so one thing that I have implemented in my life, and we talked about this in the last video, is like the planning frameworks and systems. Without systems, like I would go crazy. Okay, like I have to
Yes.
have systems and everything in the calendar. Like if I didn't have a calendar, my life would be more chaotic than what it is. So that's like one thing. But then as far as like choosing either or, I have learned that especially when I was making those 2 Facebook lives for that whole 2 years as building my brand, my personal brand on social media, that I intertwined my kids. Like I put them in there in between when I would talk like
Yes.
about business, I would bring up a story about the kids, or even when I was like making the cooking videos with my son, like and they see that. Like they see like, wow, like, you know, they might not say nothing, but as they grow up, because now I have adult children, okay, like I have kids in college and like I have adult children, and I have heard them share this, like, wow, like, you know, I remember, you know, 5 years ago, 7 years ago when we used to do XYZ things. So they might not say it at the moment, like when they're seeing you grind, they're seeing you learning, they're seeing you put in those imperfect actions, but you're teaching them how to balance life, you're teaching them how work ethic. Okay, that was a big thing. Like my oldest daughter tells me all the time, Mom, if I could summarize like the biggest thing that I've learned from you is like work ethic, and what's the other thing that she has mentioned, and like being authentic, right? And those are skills that you know,
They're big
as you're
skills.
doing live, you're doing the thing, and you're not really like teaching, like you got to do this. Like they're watching you. Kids learn
Yeah.
more when they watch you versus what you tell them. You know, so as you're building your business, like out of all of our kids, only one of our kids is not an entrepreneur mindset. They all either have a business already or are thinking about what their business is going to be when they get old,
Exactly.
right? So it's
Mine
like
too.
they think outside the box
Yes.
because they see you thinking outside the box. And like my
Yes.
office is open, so like right now they can hear me talking about like the things. So that's like incorporating what we're doing
Uh-huh.
for business, for content, for like with like family life. It doesn't mean you have to shut one off and shut one down. I do believe that we do need to have like family time where it's uninterrupted.
Yes.
And that's what you talked about, the quality, even like the quality with you and your husband, right? Like the
Yes.
quality time is better than the quantity of time when you are building a business and trying to raise a family and trying to be a wife. If you're not a wife yet, but you know, one day you'll become a wife if you're watching this and you're not a
Yeah.
wife. Yeah.
And I think too, I love how you said that. There's two other things that came up in my mind when you mentioned that. Is one is boundaries and two is forgiveness. So first of all, with the boundaries, like we have to have them. So like if I'm only designating my time for, and I'll actually share a story with this. So when we first started counseling couples, not counseling, coaching couples, it was our boundaries were so off. Our kids would be home, and when our kids were little, they were like 4 under 4 at that time, and then a 6-year-old. Like they weren't big. And so um they would be watching TV while we were on coaching calls. But then the coaching calls creeped into at night. And then they started creeping into I can do this time and this time and this time. And so our family time like disappeared for a while until Corey and I were like, yeah, this doesn't work. They're taking over our family. And instead of us building the relationship with our kids, they're watching TV. And we never really did much of TV before. I mean, they were all little. So it was like we didn't really do a lot of TV until we started coaching couples. And then it was like, no. So then we had to stop the TV stuff. Then we set our own boundaries of, listen, now when they're at school, these are the hours we're working. Like, that's it. If it's after school, I'm sorry, it's family time. It's intentional family time. And so it creates the thing of like kids get to see they can do business. They can also have family time and time for me because I matter more than their business, right? And here's the second part is the forgiveness. Now, most of us mom carry this mom guilt because
Yeah.
we're like, it's a one or the other situation. And when we have the one or the other situation, what do moms do? We all get stressed, we get angry, we get hangry, we get crying, we get all the emotions that our kids have, right? It's like what I said in one of the first videos where moms usually feel like they're bipolar. They're up and they're down and they're feeling all these emotions at the same time. And they're just like, I'm just failing. That's bottom line where they usually go. But here's the thing when our kids see that when we have those stressful moments, even when we don't react amazingly, we can always rebuild that relationship because we can go to them and say, I'm so sorry, mommy should not have acted this way. And I'm sorry for doing that. this is what I'm going to do in the future, right? We're building that connection after our things that we did wrong, right? Because we're not going to be perfect. And those moms that you see on TV and that are like on vacation sites and have never had an issue with their kids. Hello, I have 5 kids. Like every vacation is going to have ups and downs, and there's never going to be a perfect vacation, right? What you see on the TV and on like social media is usually not the full story. They caught a glimpse before their kids started fighting. That's literally probably what happened, right? But it's okay. It's fine. Because when we have our hangry moments, when we have our stressful moments, when we have too much to do on our plate and we push the kids aside and we become business mode only, and then we're like, "Oh no, I feel guilty because I need to be mom mode too." There's okay to rebuild that relationship and say, I'm sorry. And the
Yeah.
kids also learn how to forgive. And we learn how to forgive ourselves and get those yucky voices out of our heads that say, you can't do this. Instead, you're just taking imperfect action and you're following forgiveness and restitution on the side.
Yeah, I love that. And those are more skills, right? So like you're along the way, you're teaching kids your kids skills, you're planting those seeds inside of them and they won't say nothing now, trust me, but when they become adults or when they have their own kids, okay, because I'm pretty sure
For their own businesses.
moment that you're like, oh my gosh, I remember when my mom told me that, right? Because I've had all those moments. So your kids will have those moments too. So have grace for yourself. Don't compare yourself to others. Work on what you have to do. Create systems around your family, and those boundaries are so important. And you're gonna be fine. And continue to like follow here for
Yes.
the tips. We are so excited to continue to share with you guys like our experiences and the things that have helped us, so that hopefully it can help you. And if you found value in this video, share it with your friends. Like share it with your
Yes.
friends, put it on social out there. We're excited about what we're doing here and all the amazing content. And we're gonna be bringing some special guests soon too. So like JoJo and I have been talking about that.
Yeah.
Like we have a friend. We have a few friends that we already have on the list that we want to bring on, that are also women that are, amazing women that inspire the world, and we want to bring them to inspire you. So, any last minute words from your end, JoJo?
I think you guys share, because every mom is suffering in silence. A lot of times moms don't share it. So just share, 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 share this with everyone you know, because guaranteed they're suffering too. We love you guys. You guys got this. And let's go, business women.
Yeah, see you in the next video. Peace.